Whether you've been waiting for a little while there, or possibly maybe you got a citrus tree as a Christmas present, now is the time that we should be putting them into the ground. And right here, I'm gonna kind of demonstrate to you replanting a potted citrus plant into a larger pot. You know, some of these citrus trees can actually be grown in large pots, and they'll produce a crop for you just fine on the patio. But anyway, we're growing into a 45-gallon black plastic pot in this demonstration. Basically, we have a garden soil media filled in here. So this is one of the local mixes here sold as garden soil at a bulk soil distributor. It's basically a mix of pine bark mulch and aged pine bark mulch, and then a little bit of sand. It's about 5% sand by weight. We've actually added in a good amount of peat moss, about 1/3 by volume, just so that it holds water a little bit better. So that's the potting soil, and that's very comparable to a lot of the commercial potting mixes that you'll find at your local garden centers and plant nurseries. We're going to dig our hole. I'm going to dig it slightly shallow. Now, before we pull the root ball out of the pot here to further along this planting demonstration, I kind of would like to point out that when you buy a citrus tree in the state of Louisiana, it's going to be grafted onto a different set of roots. And it's always nice to locate this on a nice young tree, because it'll help you, later on when we talk about pruning anything from below the graft union, which is right here in this particular plant. That way you're easy to locate it. So it's usually about 6 to 8 inches off the ground. And you can basically see where two patterns of bark kind of fuse together. But this is from the signwood, or the desired citrus, that was produced in the nursery. This is the Poncirus trifoliate rootstock that we grow out to graft our citrus varieties onto and grow citrus fruits. So I'm going to pull this root ball out of the pot, and one thing I like to notice is we have remaining fertilizer prills down there. So I don't like to fertilize any first-year fruit trees with any harsh fertilizers, but there's a lot in that pot that we can kind of recycle and reuse. I've got located the top of my root ball on the potted plant, and I have it sitting just about 1 inch high. That the natural grade of soil that was already in this pot. So another thing too, you notice my hole was slightly shallow, but I still dug it a little bit bigger than the shape of that root ball, and that is going to help me. When I backfill with this soil here, that soil is going to be nice, airous. It's going to be porous. I mean, water will penetrate well, air will penetrate well, but plant roots growing outward. We want this thing to immediately grow roots outward to establish a root system. So when we're talking about planting in the ground, we tell people to try to go 3 and 4 times the width of that root ball. In a pot, you're dealing with a very porous soil to begin with, so we don't quite have to go to that extreme. My next step would be to run some irrigation water in here, collapse any voids. If I needed to add some more soil, I'd grab a bagged material there, but once I do that, I'm good to go. So look for a location that gets some full sun. Don't forget to water this thing when it's dry, and you should be able to ride out year number 1.